Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. Today we are leaving Burke Lakefront Airport and we're going to fly over the suburbs of Lakewood, Rocky River, West Park, and Fairview Park. These are all suburbs that have been requested by my viewers. And I think this is going to kind of constitute a new series. We're going to be flying the Shark Ultra all over the country, all over northeastern Ohio, all over wherever you want. All you got to do is leave the place that you want me to fly in your in the comments. Be careful about specific addresses. Obviously, you don't want to be giving your address out, but maybe give a neighborhood out or the name of a school address that's near you, and we'll fly over the school and hopefully fly over your home in doing so. But I don't want anyone getting in trouble unless you don't really care and don't mind having your address out in front of everybody. But we will try to... the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes have done so well, and I've had a ton of people requesting different airports and different locations. So here's some of the list. I'm going to go through the list with you right now. I've got people requesting a flyover of Akron, Macedonia. Somebody wants me to fly from Cleveland to Rochester, Indianapolis, Raleigh. Somebody wants me to go over Kindersley, Saskatchewan, which would be in Canada. The east side of Cleveland and Lake County, and also on that same token, 99th Street and Superior, which is going to be in Cleveland. We also have people asking for Erie, PA, Lost Nations Airport, Sebring, Florida, St. Kitts to Nevis, Mayfield and Lake County, which is Cleveland, Fox Meadows, which is in Medina, where I live. So we can definitely do all of those. If you leave your message, I will be doing that. And so I think we're going to just try to start something new. Tell your friends about it. Go out and get people to watch these videos, and we will definitely fly over your favorite place. And we'll see how much this grows and how well it does. But I think it's going to do well. Considering I didn't even say I was going to do it, and I had people asking for me to fly over places. That's a good sign that this is going to work. So it's mid-afternoon. Actually, it's early morning, I think. And I'm going to be flying out of Burke Lakefront Airport, and we're going to fly over Lakewood, started at Lakewood. Now, I don't know a ton about Lakewood or West Park. They're places that I've been to and been to different places there, but I don't know this like the hot spots in those places. So I'll fly over, we'll take a look, and I'll try to give you the best tour I can. And then we're going to head on to the inner portion of Rocky River away from the lake. We already did Tangletown, but we're going to fly around and see what kind of things that we can see within Rocky River, and then we're going to move on to Westlake and Fairview Park. So let's go ahead and get this flight started, and I will see you guys once we're ready for takeoff, and let's get moving.
Departure approved.
All right, we have been cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff runway 24 right, Savage X-ray Golf Sierra.
And once we get flying, I'm using the AI radio, so my co-pilot does all the radio communications, but unfortunately he'll just talk right over us, so I'm going to cut the radio off once we get into the first clearance for Cleveland so they know we're there. And then we'll have the radio off so we can enjoy our flight. So here we go, heading to Lakewood. Lakewood is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Cleveland, so it'll only take us a minute or two to get there. And already we're airborne. Look at that. I think I'm also going to do a video about missing monuments, because people have asked, hey, is this in it? Is that in it? Oh, and a correction. I called that Fenn Tower. This is actually Fenn Tower, I believe, and that's Rhodes Tower. So little correction there. And this airplane climbs like a champ. And no, I'm not talking about the airplane, the Champ. Though that climbs well, too. Who made the Champ again? I'm trying to remember the name of the company. They also made the Defender. I can't think of the name. The Champ basically looks like a Piper Cub, but it doesn't have the engines popping out the nose. Aeronca, that's the name of the company. And I'd like to get one of those in game. I hope somebody comes out with one. I definitely would buy that. The Champ is a great little touring plane. We had an old pilot that used to own an RC shop in Medina. It was called Herb's Hobby Hangar. It's now just called Hobby Hangar. His son took over the business, which is awesome. continuing the family business, but the dad is like in his 90s. He's no longer flying, and he actually, not only did they have an RC field, but they actually used the runway for real life aviation. And so one of his aircraft was, he had a couple experimentals, but he also had an Aranca Champ. And man, that was a beautiful plane. And sometimes you'd see him flying over Medina, and he'd just be at maybe like, anywhere between 500 and 1,000 feet, and just slowly cruising along. And anyway, I'd never heard of a Champ before, but Horizon Hobby makes a Champ that you can fly for $80, and it has everything you need to learn how to fly RC airplanes. It's a little tiny airplane, and that's what I learned to fly RC on, and so I have it's got a very special place in my heart. It's a great little trainer airplane. So, all right, so we are starting to get over, I think that's Edgewater down there, and we also have, we looked at Cargill already. I'm pretty sure that's Edgewater Park. Sorry, and I'm going to have to get my bearings. I'm not super familiar with Lakewood, Ohio. It's funny because I grew up right next door to it, but I just never went there. So I think we're still in Cleveland. I believe it's 117th is where the border is, and I won't be able to find that, but let's see. There's the Shoreway. So this is Clifton Boulevard right there. I think this is Lorraine, but it could be, I'm not sure. Yeah, this looks like Lorraine here. So we'll kind of pop back and forth, but I think the main points of interest in Lakewood are mostly over on Clifton Avenue and Lorraine. I don't want to get too low here, but... And that is what the buildings look like. Now, they're not quite so paper mache looking, like, that's just the effect from the game. But the buildings really do have that kind of like 50s, Art Deco. Like right there, this building right here, it's classic Cleveland. All of these, the architecture is all what it looks like in Cleveland. And of course, the textures here, which I think is really neat, they really are using the textures from the Cleveland area. So you're seeing what really is there, which is weird. I don't know why they didn't do that in Medina, but for whatever reason, maybe they just didn't have the data. I think that's Lake Road. Let's see, we're about to cross over Clifton here. It's right underneath us, just off our nose to the right. Up there, I believe that's the Tower of St. Ignatius. Why don't we scoot over there and see that too? So once again, this is lower West Side Cleveland here, and once we get up into this area, I believe is where Lakewood starts. So we might as well hit this while we're here. So some of these neighborhoods are not so grand. My ex-sister-in-law lives down here, and man, she lived in a really crappy house, and it was in a bad neighborhood. But some of the neighborhoods are really nice, so it's kind of funny. It's kind of hit or miss. It was a rough neighborhood, man. She would set off fireworks till like on 4th of July till, all drunk and stuff till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and the neighbors would all be yelling out the window like, "Stop it! We got kids!" And she's like, "Yeah, whatever." 'Cause she was such a jerk at times. Oh, Laura, where are we? Trying to find this tower here. I don't see it though. Anyway, we're getting off target here, so that's 90 right there. I don't see St. Ignatius.
Savage X-Ray Golf Sierra, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Yep, thanks. Boop.
Lakefront Tower Savage Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf.
Let's see if he
Sierra,
continues with the radio off.
change.
I think that...
Approach Savage Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is type Savage SAVG5.
All right, hold on one second, folks. Okay, I think we have everything off. Turn my radio back on, but it's off in the game. I just turned ATC voices off. That's how I handled that. So here, yeah, this is still Cleveland here, so we're going to move over this way because Lakewood is this way. There's 90. You know what? That's St. Ignatius right there, or... I don't know. I'm not Catholic. Sorry, don't shoot me. I don't know. I don't know these Catholic buildings. They are landmarks, for sure. And I know some of them because there are, like, I'll be able to point out St. Christopher's and Rocky River, and this is kind of the industrial zone still. And why are we flying full flaps? I had somebody comment and say, you're not supposed to fly with your flaps down. Actually, with this type of aircraft, like a bush plane, you can definitely use the flaps to do slow cruises. There's nothing wrong with putting your flaps down and cruising. It's not the most fuel efficient way to fly, but it'll keep your speed at a low speed so that you can tour and sightsee without stalling the aircraft. So yes, flaps are mostly used for landing, but when you have a bush plane, people do use the bush planes to they use the flaps on the bush planes to fly slow and low. So here we have, I think once again this is that's Lake Road over there, and this is Clifton Boulevard, I believe. Yep, and there's the Gold Coast. So we're just starting to get into Lakewood now. We've left Cleveland, or leaving Cleveland. Now I don't know where, there's a Franklin Manor here somewhere. I don't know where that house is. It's a famous, like, castle style house, but I don't know exactly where that is. So I apologize. Once again, I don't. Right below us here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there along this strip somewhere here is a restaurant called Papa Nick's. I think it's back over here. Man, is it good food. Like, if you ever get pizza and like they have a chicken parmesan sub that's just outstanding. I'm not sure what that building is, but it's pretty cool. Once again, we have the Gold Coast. These are all buildings where rich people live. Doctors and stuff that work in Cleveland live there. And then over here we have, Lakewood's kind of main strip. But if you're from Lakewood, you're probably enjoying this and going, oh yeah, I see that. I've had people comment on videos about things that I looked at that I didn't know what I was looking at, but they knew exactly what they were. So there's Lakewood High School's field right there. There's the Rangers. Wow, choppy. Okay. And there's the Norfolk and it used to be Norfolk and Western, but now it's Norfolk Southern line that goes on from Lakewood into Rocky River. There's St. Edward's. This is a Catholic school right here. So you can see the building. So you guys, for that, go to St. Ed's. That's a bad view. We'll swing around here. Hold on. You can see here, though, it's nice. With flaps down, we can run just about 60 knots and not stall the aircraft. So that's good speed to sightsee. So once again, the Shock Ultra comes from the deluxe package of the game, and I think it's worth it because of this airplane and the Baron 58. Those are two of my favorite airplanes. When you consider that each airplane is $30 in the shop, it's probably worth just getting the premium edition, because you get 30 plus 30 is 60 and you're all set. So there's St. Ed's, the building. And we're going to head on down into downtown Lakewood. And once again, we're getting some stuttering here. It's just how it is. Man, I remember going to this grocery store. I don't remember what it is, but I remember as a kid really liking it because the parking lot went down a steep slant to get down in there. And I always thought it'd be fun to have Hot Wheels and run them down the ramp. As a little boy, that's the kind of things that you think about, Wouldn't it be cool if I had a Hot Wheels and I could run them down this hill here? Once again, that's where my grandpa, this building here with the slats, is where my grandpa used to go for his radiation treatments, I think. I know it was something to do with his cancer. And pretty much all along the lake are very wealthy homes. Let's pop over there and see if we can see it, because I'm not sure what else to show you through this portion of Lakewood. Though somewhere nearby here, and I don't know exactly which building it will be, is the best pizza I've ever had in my life. I've been to a lot of pizza places in Chicago, New York, well, New York State. And I've had Giordano's pizza before, and it was fabulous. But the best pizza I've ever had is a pizza place in Cleveland, in Lakewood, called Angelo's Pizza. And it is just, it's the best, guys. It's so good. So if you're ever up in the area and you get a chance to go to Lakewood and you go to ask where Angelo's Pizza is, you need to go to Angelo's because it's just outstanding. So we'll fly over this way and then we'll fly back inland again. There's Cleveland off in the distance. We've come quite a ways. I think this is Lake. We flew over this before. This is Lakewood Park, I'm pretty sure. You see the nice view. There's a place where you can walk down to the cliff, and it looks back over Cleveland. It's a real nice overview if you're ever in Lakewood and get a chance to go see that. Yeah, the homes just look so-so from here, and the roads are kind of gone, but wow, we're really chopping a lot. But this whole area just is full of like just gorgeous, like, I want to say maybe early 1900s to mid 1900s, like mansions. They're you know, all brick structures, and they have just gorgeous, they're just beautiful homes. And I bet you some of you guys, if any of you live here that are playing this game, you're probably like, there's my house, because you can actually see that each house is different. And that's another thing, you know, this is one of the differences between that I've noticed between America and England, but even more so Ohio and other states. Since Cleveland's an older city, not real old, but it's old enough that places like Lakewood and Cleveland, every single house is completely different. Some are brick, some are wood, some are English Tudor, and they each have their own personality. We didn't have like these generic builders back then. Now, if you go to Medina, all the houses look the same because they were all built by the same three companies. If you go to England, everybody just lives in townhouses, and they all look like Harry Potter Street. So it's, you know, they're all brick. But here in northeastern Ohio, you have a huge variety of homes. I mean, you just look at this. You can see every single house is completely different. And that's really how it is. So this is pretty realistically recreated here, and I think that's really neat. As you get into some of these older cities, I don't know what church that is, but I know I've done a wedding there before. I don't remember what it's called, though. Wow, look at the detail on that. Even with my crappy graphics, it looks good. But yeah, even here, look at every house is different. And we're going to keep coming over towards the western border of Lakewood here. Now, in this plaza, I believe it was this building here, but I could be wrong. I'm kind of guesstimating here. There was a hobby store called Wings Hobby Shop, and they had, ironically, it was a train store. Go figure. They called it Wings, but it was a train store. They had maybe one or two model airplanes in there, but you know, it was just. But that was a great. I remember going there as a kid, like being in heaven. You know, like they had all these cool like model tanks and cars and airplanes and boats, and then they had just tons of HO and Lionel equipment, O-gauge equipment. This is a really ritzy neighborhood. These buildings are all new here. This stuff's all new. Wow, it's really stuttering. Sorry, guys. There's a little secret street here that goes down and around and comes back up over here. It's kind of cool. But I don't see it. No, it's gone. You don't really see it there. And we're into Rocky River. So once again, I'm going to cut back here though, because there's a couple things I want you to see before we go into the river tour. And once again, there's the Westlake Hotel. Here's a funny story. Down to our left is a building. This used to be this bridge. They had another bridge that went across here. They tried to blow the bridge up, but this section of bridge did not blow up. So they turned the arches into offices. And Highland Software, when it first started, for those of you who have heard of Highland, it's a pretty big software. It's basically Ohio's version of Microsoft. They're a database programming company. This is where their office buildings were when they first started. And I used to actually work down in the arches of that building. My office was down in there. And so that's still there. You can drive down underneath it, and it's built on, that building's built on the old bridge. But what I wanted you to see is this is kind of cool. This river here is the Rocky River. Once again, that's what the city Rocky River is named after. These homes are all new. But right here is the entrance to what they call the Metro Parks. And here it's a free You have a free dock here for people that want to bring their boats in. There's like ramps there. And then you have all this this road that goes about 50 miles throughout Cleveland, and it's part of this Metro Park system. But the valley, the Rocky River Valley, is where it all starts. And you see we have these giant break walls. That's really cool. And then the city kind of follows the edge of that. So we have apartments like all along here. And I want to get back over here into Lakewood. This is our water treatment facility for the west side. And there's this really cool erosion wall that they've put in. Now this has been here my whole life. But this road, I think it's called Edgecliff, if I remember right. I don't exactly remember what this road is called, but this runs all the way along the river here, and you have this big break wall. It's almost like a dam, like when you go to like Michigan and see dams or something like that, or the Hoover Dam. It's this big. I see where I'm going. Like this big wall, like a retaining wall. Isn't that cool? And that runs all along there, and then you have the neighborhoods. This is the kind of ritzy neighborhoods again of Lakewood. That I believe is, I don't know what street that is. Madison, maybe? I think that's Madison. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm looking around and I'm going off mic here. All right, so we're going to fly back over and head into Rocky River now. Or we're going to stall and die. That was right on the edge of stalling. All right, so we'll bring this back around, fly back over Madison. So Rocky River's off to our left. There again is the water treatment facility. And the break wall beneath us, or the edge. So we'll kind of fly back and forth here. I'm going to fly Rocky River, maybe a little bit of Bay Village. Once again, Bay Village is one of those places that I didn't spend a lot of time, and it's not very big. It's got Huntington Park, Lake Park, but really it doesn't have a whole lot to it aside from just homes. How fast are we going? 60? All right. So we have Lake Road coming in on our right, and we have Detroit Road on the left. And we're going to fly over Lake Road and kind of pick up along here. So once again, that's the Rocky River Bridge building. Right here is a pretty well-known, very early deliver-to-your-car grocery store called Heinen's. They were one of the first places to do that. That's where I opened my first bank account right there. Underneath us is Sam and Dave's, which is a famous, it's famous for Ohio restaurant. Over here is our Tangletown again. We saw that already. This is, I think they call this the Beechcliff Plaza. And this is all new here, if I'm not mistaken. This stuff wasn't here before. There's a sawmill. That's our Methodist or Lutheran church. I can't remember which. This is what they call Linda Shopping Center. There used to be a really cool pizza place here called Randazzo's. And I can't remember the name of the ice cream place. Mitchell's. There's a Mitchell's ice cream right there in the corner. There's a Dairy Queen there. When I was a little kid, this used to be Baskin Robbins. And so we have the junior high and St. Christopher's across the street. We'll get closer to that. And I want to check out some stuff over here too, so hold on a second. Yep, there's St. Christopher's. So when we went to junior high here, whenever there was a fight, like when some kids wanted to fight, they'd always be like, "Dude, I'll meet you at St. Christopher at 3:15," because we got out at 3:15. So this is where the kids would come and have fights. They'd come back out here and have fights in the parking lot from the junior high. I never went. I'd have people invite me to fight, and I'd be like, no. So I didn't go. See you later. You can fight all you want, but I'm not joining. So there's the junior high, the junior penitentiary. And then next door to that's the Rocky River Library. And once again, I'll probably, Rocky River I can do detailed because I know everything, not everything, but I know where everything is here. I remember running on that track in junior high. Can't make it around there now. Yep, there's the Rocky River Library. That's where my friend's bike got stolen, right out front there. Somehow I got the blame for that one, but well, that's another story for another flight. All right, so I wanted to see. It seems like we're missing some stuff, and I think it's because the trees are here, but like I don't see Kensington School. And that's a pretty big deal because Kensington's, you know. So I need to get my bearings here. That is the train tracks. Let's see. This is Detroit Road where it joins in, and that was the overpass directly beneath us. Yep. So this is that goes to Lakewood. This is the start of Detroit. So there it is. So this is Kensington School. That's where I went to grade school. Kindergarten through 6th grade or 5th grade. It's so funny. So we're having a redo of Rocky River. Gosh, I don't remember this, but I guess there's some new apartments and stuff here too since I live there. This plaza has Danny Boy's Pizza. Yep, that's the gym for the school. Playground out back. I played there a lot as a kid. Danny Boy's Pizza. Let me catch my bearings. And you can see all these, ritzy homes. These are all like brick, like English Tudor homes here. Let's see if they have the little brick thing at the end of Worcester. We have a little brick road. And I'll have to pull a hard turn here. Sorry, guys. Try not to get sick. That's Rocky River Park over here. Used to go sledding there as a kid. I don't see... Oh, there's the brick road. There it is. So there's a brick road here that is Wager, and we're going to follow Wager here. This goes all the way up into town and past the high school where we were. But it's kind of hidden under the roads. Or under the trees, I mean. Now, it's kind of funny. Somewhere here we'll see some railroad tracks. Again, it's the same Norfolk Southern line or Western line. And my friend and I came down Wager one time in his dad's Datsun, and we were going about 75 miles an hour, and we actually jumped the tracks. It was pretty scary, and he ended up the car was okay, but at first, here it is. Are the tracks down here? But there was what we did is this car was a real piece of crap. It was a little Datsun, I don't know what, but there's a really steep hill right here before the high school, or by the high school, and you don't see the hill here. That's interesting, but you go down this real steep hill, and then we pick up speed, and then we jump the tracks, and the wheels, we landed, and he was like, see, it's fine, the car is fine, and then all of a sudden the wheels just went like, blah, 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 and then it was fine after that, but they wigged out for a second, so it's pretty funny. Here's Rocky River High School. You can see St. Chris down the road there, and there's the Pirates logo. The real dud was when I was an adult, I was working for another school to do photos, and I found out that our mascot, which has changed now, they've got a new one, but we used to have this mascot, and it's the same generic mascot that every school uses. I was like, what? So I looked it up, and I found out there's 80 million schools in the United States that use that same dang mascot. Pirates, Buccaneers, whatever. There's whatever you want to call it. So once again, there's the high school. The high school used to have this giant smokestack that really did make it look like a prison. Now I don't know if they've taken it out just for the game, or if they made a mistake, or if it actually is no longer there. But now once again, I think this tour for you guys will be a little more in depth than some of the others because I know this area. Some of the areas you guys are asking me to fly, I know nothing about. So, all right. So we're on the border. Over there's Bay Village. Once again, I don't know too much about Bay Village aside from the beaches and stuff. They're not a whole lot there for me to talk about. But over here on the left is Magnificat. That is our local. That was a girls' high school, and then. Coming up on the right here is Westgate Mall. I'm not sure which of these streets is Forest View, but my friend Mike used to live in one of these houses here. Spent many a summer Saturday night, Friday night, sleeping over and playing Nintendo games in this neighborhood here. I'd always ride my bike up and we'd play games. Let's see. These are new apartments. Those have just been there for a little bit. This is what used to be called Rockport. And these apartment buildings are on the end of the street by Lutheran West. We'll fly over Lutheran West here, but we're flying over what used to be a mall and is now an outdoor shopping center. I don't know why they tore the mall down, but malls, for some reason about 10 years ago, malls just like totally lost popularity and everything went to outdoor stores. The mall is dead. Unless it's South Park. But there's Lowe's. And to the right is Lutheran West. Now, I used to live on this street. This is, here it's called Linden Road. Once you cross into Fairview, it's called Elmore. So we'll fly over the house, and I'll show you one more thing here. There's Lutheran West High School. And Bulkin Park. This used to be a missile site, a Nike missile site. And they turned it into a baseball diamond. 4 baseball diamonds, actually. And this is Elmore. And down below here, to the left, that is this one right here. That was my first house that I owned. There's a garage and the house. And you can't really see the front of it because of the trees, but that's it right there. I lived there for 10 years. Heck, that's where Seth was born. All right, so let's head on over to the last thing I wanted to show you in Rocky River, and then we'll head into Fairview Park and come back and head over to West Park. So far, I think we've had a very good tour. We've used up 2 gallons of gas, so we're okay. We have 12 gallons left. We started with 14. That is actually a Target. Yep. I had a friend who swore that he was in Led Zeppelin. He lived right directly underneath us. His name was Paul Massgrass. He looked like Doogie Howser, and Def Leppard was his favorite band. So, of course, when he bought his first guitar, it was a Les Paul. Go figure. Let's see what else we got here. I can't remember what this plaza was called, but I think it's called Oaks or Oakwood, maybe. Once again, I don't remember. But I do remember this. This is Arby's right there with the red awnings, and my grandpa and grandma and I used to go there after church on Sunday, pretty much every Sunday, and so I spent many Sunday lunches at Arby's. My grandpa loved horsey sauce. Blah. Horrible tasting, but I love Arby's. Everything else. There's a McDonald's in front of us. Blah blah blah. Had a friend that lived in these apartments back here. This is Office Max. They used to have what was the computer? CompUSA, I think, used to be there. Definitely Giant Eagles there. So now the next place that we're going to see is just over the border in Westlake. There's 2 places I want to show you, and then we'll head back to Fairview Park. But as a kid, we used to go to church over here. And what's funny is, I spent a lot of my young years there and had a lot of good memories. My mom used to be the gardener there. She would volunteer to do the gardens, and so I spent a lot of Saturdays there riding my skateboard down the hilly driveway and playing with cars out in the back and like Hot Wheels and stuff. And as a little kid, it left an imprint on me. And it's funny because even as an adult, I still have dreams about being in that back parking lot at Grace Baptist. I still have a lot of friends that they don't necessarily go to church here. They live all over the country, but we get together every year, either at Christmas or in the summer or both. And there's the church right there. So that's Grace Baptist of Westlake. And anyway, just really good memories. This driveway actually is a U shape, and I used to ride my skateboard all over. And then they have a school that they've built on, but that's the original church building. That's the parking lot where I have my dreams. Now this used to be all gravel. It's all paved now, but it's got that big space behind it. But I don't don't know why I always dreamed about it, but I still do sometimes. It's kind of funny. Full throttle, don't stall. And over here used to be a field of raspberries, and my grandpa would always come and pick the raspberries here. That is now a funeral home. And then there used to be a Warner's Furniture across the street, and that's gone now. I think they went out of business. And then right up the street here is Ed Mullinak's Ford. And for those of you from the Cleveland area, you guys will remember, if you're older, you'll remember that Ed Mullinak's is a friend of mine. I forget what song that is, but they put their own lyrics to it and made it an Ed Mullinak song. That do 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 do. Anybody that's lived in Cleveland will remember those Ed Mullinak's commercials, and they were terrible cars. My friend Glenn, who actually was an assistant pastor at the church back there, his dad worked for Ford, and he got an Escort on the family plan. And within a year, that thing caught on fire at least twice. And the first time they took it back to Ed Mullinak's, the guy, they basically just spray painted over where the car had burnt. They didn't even fix it. So anyway, stay away from Ed Mullinak's. I'm sure the business has gotten better since then. That was back in the 80s when Ford was bad. Actually, most of the American cars are really bad at that point. All right, so now we're going over Fairview Park again. And we're going to make a left turn up when we get to Lorraine Road and head on into West Park. But once again, like I said, with Fairview, there's not a ton to see aside from it. It's just residential. Same with Westlake. Same with Bay Village. Though Westlake does have Great Northern up here, a couple high-rise buildings, and it's another thing that you see often when you fly into Cleveland Hopkins. Now, West Park is kind of interesting because with West Park, you pretty much fly directly over West Park when you're coming in to the airport in Cleveland. So you almost always see some of the landmarks from West Park. So and from Lakewood, but primarily the planes go out over the Cleveland buildings and then come back in and fly in over Westlake. So we're flying over. I think we're paralleling. This might be Clegg. I'm pretty sure this is Clegg Road. And I'm just looking for Lorraine. Lorraine should be here any second now. I think this is Lorraine up here. So once again, Westlake on our right. Fairview Park on our left. North Olmsted up here. And Bay Village behind us. Rocky River back over that way. My wife is killing spiders. Or some kind of mob. I'm hearing mob death. Okay, so here we are. We have come to the intersection of Clegg and Lorraine, I believe. Once again, mostly just commercial stuff. Nothing really to write home about. But we will fly over Fairview High School. And I've been on this route many, many, many times in my life as I go to different places. In fact, I'm going to drop a flap and we'll pick up speed a little bit to get to down to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to pull over to the left side of the road here so we can see Fairview High School, home of the Fairview Warriors up here on the right. And more Fairview Park back there. There's tennis courts. That's not Fairview High School. I think this is Fairview High up here, but I could be wrong. That might be a shopping plaza. There's Fairview up here. That's the high school there. There's Hopkins off there in the distance, and the whole time that Rocky River Valley is going all the way through here. That's the valley right there that you're seeing. That's all part of the Rocky River Valley. The River Valley. The Rocky River Valley. So there's Lakewood High. I'm sorry, Fairview High. And I think the middle school's there. I think their schools are all together, if I remember right. And the library's right there too. When flaps down. And there's the field for the Fairview Warriors. You'll notice the Warriors spear on the field with the F for Fairview. 5 stars for Fairview. There's our shadow on the building. Whoa. That means we're very low. And let's continue to follow Lorraine here. This will be West 210. If we turn left here, we're going to, I think we'll end up at the mall. I think that's 210. Yeah, there's Dunkin' Donuts. I've had many, many donuts and coffees from there. 10 years worth. It's why I'm so fat. I have a salt and sugar addiction, like most chubby Americans. Okay, so so now we're over my old neighborhood again. There's Lutheran West to our left, just so you have your bearings, and some of the business buildings here along with some apartments as we near the border of Fairview Park. And we're going to cross the Lorraine Bridge here into Lorraine, over the valley into Fairview, or into West Park. I think we're going to turn this way. Let's see. Yep, it turns this way. I'm trying to see where the bridge is. It should be right around here, but because it's been a while. Where's the bridge? We're a little low. Okay, the bridge is right here, I think. No. What? Okay, it's up there. I see Fairview Hospital now. Okay, and there's the Rocky River again, or parts of the golf course swamp. There's a swamp down there. Like a big bog. Lots of flies, mosquitoes, and deer. And there's the Lorraine Bridge from Fairview to West Park. There's one of the golf courses. I don't know if that's Little Met or Big Met, but that's the Metro Parks owned golf course. And they use that to fund their devious operations. This to the right is Fairview Hospital. I spent a week there when I got an infection in my eye that caused my cornea to go out of shape. I was in the hospital for a week, once again, with this huge eye infection. My eyeball swelled up to like the size of a golf ball. But that's Fairview right there. And to our left, you can always see this from the airplane. You know you're getting close in Cleveland to landing when you've flown over Cleveland. If you see these green awnings, that is Cam's Corner, and that means that you're going to be landing in about 2 minutes because the airport's right there. So about a minute and a half from Cam's Corner. This is pretty much the major intersection in West Park, but West Park does extend all the way down to about there, in this area there. We're going to fly left a little bit because we're going to go over one of the big Catholic schools. Once again, I've had several friends from these neighborhoods. Kind of a funny thing, Cleveland had a requirement that if you were a fireman or a policeman, you had to live in the city of Cleveland, or an ambulance guy, EMT. You had to be a resident of Cleveland. Now, West Park is technically part of Cleveland. Actually, Fairview is too. But this is actually part of the city of Cleveland. So, pretty much all the firemen and policemen and EMTs moved into West Park. And so you find a large amount of people here that are either, in one of the forces, helping keep the rest of the city safe, but they all live here in West Park. So to the left here is Our Lady of Angels. It's once again a school or rectory or whatever they call it, where they train nuns, a nunnery, I think. And then they also have a huge carnival every year in the parking lot there. And in the front also. I've actually been to the carnival once or twice. And then we'll head back up to the south here. It's all neighborhoods down that way. once again, we're crossing over Lorraine now, following what's called Rocky River Drive. Rocky River Drive runs all the way to the mouth of the Rocky River on one end and up to the airport on the other end. To our left, I don't know what churches those are, but it's more churches. Many churches in the Cleveland area. Where? There's another building down here I wanted to show you guys. I'm looking carefully for. There it is. So up here is the emergency medical center. If you live in the Cleveland area and you have a pet that has an emergency and needs to go to the doctors, these guys are open until I think they might be open 24/7, but they're at least open until like 1 o'clock in the morning, and they do great service. Really nice doctors. There's a Taco Bell that I've been to several times, many times. Once again, I've done a wedding at this building before. I don't remember. I think it's a church if I remember right. And have a family that's lived through here. And we're going to head on up and head up out of the airport, and then we'll be done with our tour. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's been quite an in-depth tour today. But I'm just looking around, seeing if you guys can see where you live, if you live in West Park. We are definitely in the airspace of Hopkins. It's probably not the safest place. Is that the Taco? This might be the Taco Bell right here. I think that's the Taco Bell. Which means that this is probably Puritas, which that runs down, and there's an entrance to the valley back here. We'll see if we can see that. Yeah, this is Puritas for sure. That's Laura's home. It's for women that are abused or homeless, or children that are abused or homeless. They can come stay at Laura's home for a shelter. I have actually a lot of friends that volunteer there. A really neat ministry. I'm not sure what school that is, but it's one of the Cleveland schools. I used to work at the apartment buildings up here. I wonder how many federal violations I've just violated by flying my airplane this close. Yep, this apartment building used to be owned by Associated Estates or KMD, one of those. So I worked on the computers there, and one of my ex-brother-in-laws lived in these apartments here. This road dumps down back into the valley and goes back towards Rocky River or off that way. And so that pretty much concludes our tour of Fairview Park. We will scoot on up here to Brook Park Road, and then I'm going to make a turn to the south or to the north, and we'll head back to Burke Lakefront and land. So I'll probably cut the video for a little bit and fly back, and then when I get close to landing, I will bring you guys back in for the final. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this tour. I've had fun doing it. And once again, if you have somewhere where you want me to fly, please let me know, and I'll try to cover it. I do have a list that's going together, and I will try to group them together. So if you guys are like, obviously we did 4 cities today. I've got another group of suburbs that I'm going to put together. Like I have somebody that wants me to do Macedonia and somebody that wants me to do Akron. I probably will do both of those at the same time because it's just easier to get them all when you're here. So straight ahead of us is 480. Over to the right here is NASA. There's a newer hotel at the I forget the name of this road. That's brand new though. Like, well, for me it's new, like 10 years probably. But over here is part of NASA, and NASA extends over underneath the freeway over to here. This is the rental car facility for Cleveland Hopkins International. And there's some other companies that have now built their companies here. This used to be all homes, but obviously the people moved out and they tore the homes down because of the airport. Because it just was too close. I mean, they extended these runways. Right before 9/11, Cleveland sunk all this money into extending the runways for Continental, because Continental was a hub. And then 9/11 happened, and everyone just stopped flying, and eventually we lost the hub. So we did all this expansion, knocked down all these homes, and it was all for nothing. So, Cleveland's not, I think Cleveland still has a lot of Continental going on, but we're not a hub anymore, I don't believe. Or if we are, it got massively downsized. So anyway, the sad story of Cleveland and its airport. It's what happens when you have an overzealous mayor who's not really paying attention to what's going on. And anyway, but also things got out of control. I can't blame them for all of it. All right, guys, so I'm going to fly back to the airport. I'll see you once I get down there. All right, we've been cleared to land, so we're going to go ahead and start our turn, though we're still kind of close in. This airplane, the runways are like 3 times or 4 times as long as this aircraft needs to land, so we can kind of turn in early and not have a problem. We might be over 99th and Superior right now. I don't know. I don't really know this area super well. I'll have to look at some nav maps and see what we see. Nice. Somebody was asking if the power plant was still there off to the east of the airport, and it's it looks like it is. I'm gonna swing over this building here and just drop my phone. Yeah, there it is. Gosh, it looks smaller than I remember it, and it's got trees growing out of it. Giant trees. There's a monster tree growing out of that huge facility. It's one of the biggest ones I've ever seen in my life. But yes, that is our... I don't know if that's still in operation, but it's a coal-fired electric plant. Look at the size of that tree. Oops. I mean, those stacks are like, 500 feet tall, 400 feet, something like that. They're huge. So yeah, the facility's still there. One time in the winter, right where those cars are in this area, the seagulls always come here because it's warm. Well, something must have happened. They all took off and blew onto the freeway and got completely pulverized by traffic. So the whole road was completely covered with dead seagulls. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it was in a blizzard. So all I can imagine is they took off and there was a big downdraft and it pushed them down into traffic. But it was the grossest thing. I was like, oh! It's just like wings everywhere, like sticking up in the air. The seagulls have been a big problem for Burke Lakefront. We've actually had 2 Thunderbird pilots died back in the 80s when their airplane got sucked a seagull into the engine, and the airplane stalled and went into the lake, and they drowned. So since then, single-engine jet fighters no longer land at Burke Lakefront. They all come from Hopkins and then fly in and do their show, fly back out. Now, twin-engine aircraft like Hornets and stuff like that do land here still, but because of the seagulls, they just won't do it anymore. So this down below us, where is it? There, that's an apartment building that they... it used to be just a pier, and they turned it into an apartment building. I'm trying to see if I can get... Yeah, right there, back to the left there under my slat, or flap. And then down here on the left, this building has giant whales painted on it. You can see the whale right there. That is a real place. And that's a huge building. It's funny how from the air it looks so small. It is a really, really big building. From up here, you all look like little ants. Cut back the throttle. I keep forgetting that we're not at miles per hour. This plane's list has its speed in kilometers. So I look at the speedometer. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going 80. Well, we're only going 40 knots. So for a normal airplane, that's like almost stopped. But this is, it feels way faster than it is. I wish they would have put us on the left runway. This is gonna be. We're gonna just cruise down the runway a bit. I'm going to get lined up a little better here because I'm off. Nice touchdown, but we did bounce. And we are... Flaps up. Sir, yes, sir. And I know you guys like to see the outside of the airplane, so there we go. And can I go around the airplane? Nope. Can't control the camera at all. There we go. Oh, there it is. Forget it.
Savage X-ray Golf Sierra exit runway when able.
Sir, I will. I mean, what the heck? How's this? Oh, so last year we were at the air show, or 2 years ago, and they had this float plane that was ferrying pirates.
X-ray Golf Sierra contact ground on 121.9.
He doesn't even know I went off on the grass. He was flying pilots back and forth from the airport.
Savage X-ray Golf
Oh God, here we go again. And can I go back in the airplane, please? How do I get in? Urgh. There we go. So this guy was flying in, and I looked at him and I'm like, I don't think anyone else saw this, but I saw him. Hang on a second. I saw him coming down the runway, and I was like, man, he's doing like a low pass. He had his gear up. He had floats, but he had the gear up. And I guess this is a common mistake that float plane guys make. He forgot that his gears were up, and he actually put the airplane down on the skids on the runway. Sparks went flying, and he slid off the runway into the grass, and thankfully everybody was okay.
Visual runway 24 left and ILS runway 24 right in use. Landing and departing runway 24 left and runway 24 right. VFR aircraft, say direction of
Crying out
flight.
loud.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact.
Wait, why did he go to... Oh. And so anyway, it was pretty funny to see all that happen, and what was even funnier, oh, for crying out loud, was they did the like the announcer tried to cover it up, like, oh, I don't know, looks like everything's fine out there. It's all part of the show, folks. Like, he meant to do that. And I'm like, no, he really didn't mean to do that. He probably did like $3,000 to $10,000 worth of damage to those skids. Now those skids are meant to handle a lot of damage. Like, I talked to a guy that actually manufactures them. And he's like, oh, no, they can handle that, but they have to be resurfaced. Like, it'll scrape the paint off and stuff, and they have to be redone. But he's like, no, he probably is okay. Because it was a nice light landing, but it was just so funny. I was like, oh, my gosh. I can't believe I just witnessed that.
Flight 224 at 7.
All right, so anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk over this guy because he's obviously never going to shut up. Have a great night. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up always help. We'll see you next time for the tours. Bye.